Man, it has been an extremely long time since I used YouTube's live stream services. So forgive me while I try to figure out how to make this thing properly work. Because holy crap, I have forgotten everything I have previously done for the last few years in order to make this thing work. Hold on. Does it even say where I wanted? Okay. Why isn't it picking up the right window? Oh, this is scuffed. This is scuffed. Oh wait, maybe it's not that one. It should be. Give me a second. Yeah, I had to also like redo the settings multiple times to try to figure out like, oh no, that's not it. Which one is it? Why can't I not? You know what? Okay, I'll just screen share this side of it then. Make it a lot easier for myself. Properties. Oh wait, no, there it is. Now it's probably showing up. Okay, there we go. Yeesh. That was a pain in the butt. Also, that's not the right category. People and blogs, that's the right one. There we go. Okay. Stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend you use the stream bitrate of 2. Why is it so low? You know what? As long as it's working on my side of the screen, I guess that's alright. I'm not gonna figure out too much. I have to remember to set up like different bit rates based on whether it's YouTube or Twitch, and probably even put like a post-it note to remind myself to do so. Because the number one thing is just our announcement. I plan to go back to streaming on YouTube at least part of the time. Just pragmatically, the drop in YouTube's partnership requirements has made it a lot more feasible for me to approach YouTube as a platform. It's no longer just a viable platform if you already have a huge audience. And number two, Twitch is just fucking up a lot. That's all there is to it. I don't really want to be caught in the potential aftermath. Alex, hello to the stream. Yeah, I basically don't want to be caught in any potential nasty situations if it turns out that Twitch can't get their act together. But I'll talk about that later. What I want to talk about is how Offkai went for me. And it basically went a lot of fun. This is my first time going to Offkai. Dracon, yeah, I was off at streaming. I believe I mentioned it during my, what was it? An anniversary stream about a year ago that I was declaring my intention to move to Twitch. In fact, I have a video up on my YouTube channel stating my intentions to do so and my reasoning to do so as well. Let me see. That was made back almost exactly a year ago, actually. Here, I'll put it over. Also, it has been like a year, hasn't it, dude? Yeah. that was the video I posted up about the whole situation about why I wanted to move to Twitch for a while, right? And yeah, I tried Twitch for a year. It went about as expected, as it took me about as long to build up about the same size of an audience. Nah. I got standards or move on into the sunset with a smile. I wouldn't leave you hanging like that. I actually left a message exactly like what my intentions were, where I was going to go. Played a lot of Guilty Gear along the way. I got exactly what I wanted out of Twitch, which was the better community building tools, right? I managed to make affiliate within a relatively short amount of time, did a whole bunch of collabs, got a whole bunch of commissioned emotes to use for the channel. And that was fun. And then recently I have to rethink whether or not all that effort was worth it again, because Twitch is kind of screwing things up for us. That's no fun at all. But yeah, as you can see, I have a new overlay set. I even have a new model I can show off in a bit, although I kind of don't want to press that button right now because it takes forever for Live 2D to load up the second model. It's a little bit, it's a really rig intensive model. So all the processing is a bit of a pain in the ass for me stream-wise. But where was I? Right. I promised on Twitter to give a status report on my Offkai experience, and here I am. This is Offkai Generation 2. Last year was their very first VTuber specific convention. It was, I believe, the very first VTuber specific convention. Although, of course, if you've been following the scene for a while, you know that Nijisanji, Hololive, and all the other like smaller groups have been going to conventions as guests for the better part of 2 years now, I believe, on the West Coast, in the general Western scene, and more so than that elsewhere. But this was my first time going, not as a guest. I'm not that big, still not that big. But mostly for my own satisfaction and to meet all these people that I've been talking to and collabing with and generally hanging out for a while. I found you like about 6 months ago, and then like I forgot about you, and then you appeared on my recommended. Yeah. I have been neglecting my YouTube channel for a long bit. What I rediscovered while making this stream is that setting up a YouTube channel, I forgot how much of a pain in the butt it was. Like between like getting a thumbnail and setting up all the settings, like the YouTube experience, I forgot, was actually kind of a pain in the butt compared to Twitch, where I can literally just press a button and start streaming wherever I want, right? But no, there are settings to maintain. I completely forgot that if I set this to child friendly, it means that there's no chat to interact with. So that I had to completely relearn. The settings are completely wrong. This should actually be a higher bitrate to give a better quality stream, but it is what it is for now. I'll figure it out. But yeah. Offkai is, not only does it feel like I'm starting for first time over again doing all this, but Offkai was kind of like a rejuvenation for like my whole like reason for starting as a VTuber in the first place, right? Like it was the number one thing about it for me definitely was that it was a fully rejuvenating experience. Not only was it a nice break from my current work, let's say about that better, although I probably should say something about that, but it's hard to maintain motivation when you are like isolated from everybody else for long stretches of time. And this, going to Offkai, going to San Francisco for a weekend, was a good way to feel like this was something worth doing again. Right. Not that I really had any doubts about what I was doing as a VTuber, but it was hard to maintain motivation from a day-to-day basis for over... This is the third year of my activities as a VTuber. First full year, I completed 1 full year on Twitch, and like a year and a half on YouTube side. So yeah, this is year 3 now. If you saw my Slash page earlier, like it has the whole year 2 banner, like that was my anniversary banner made by my VTuber mom. Shout out to Nagi. And it's been a trip. It has a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Recently has felt more downs than ups. But going to Offkai for a weekend, I think gave me another kick in the pants to stay motivated, right? Not that the Offkai started off great though, because I ended up in the wrong airport to start things off with. If you've been following my Twitter account, which is literally just twitter.com/Lushen Zener, I got to the wrong airport. Now, in my defense, there are 2 airports in my area, 2 major airports, and the international one's the one I usually go to, right? No, that was the wrong one. It was a smaller one. It was Love Field. I did not know that my ticket was meant for the smaller airport, the one that I usually ignore because I never use it, never actually think about it. So instead, I had to catch a ride all the way back to the other airport. But the good news is, I expected airport shenanigans. The last 2 years of traveling, if you've done any like international or even domestic flights in the last 2 years, you know that air travel in the United States is unusually bad right now, like historically bad. It has never been so damn sloppy on the airline's part. So I gave myself over 4 hours to make sure that I do not get stranded in like a Southwest Airlines situation, right? 4 hours to make sure that I show up on time, get past the security line, make sure I like absolutely do the thing I need to do. And I needed all 4 hours because I went to the wrong airport. And then it turns out the airport I was actually supposed to had a line that stretched way past where it's usually supposed to go. So that took a long ass time, but I finally made it. I finally made it to San Francisco. The Bay Area feels very much like hometown for me. I grew up in the area. It was nice to feel that salt sea breeze. The air in San Francisco, no kidding, I swear to God, is actually sweeter than it is where I'm living right now. And so the very first thing I did was make sure I had some proper West Coast Asian food, which, as you can tell with this bowl of beef curry with a bit of seaweed on the side, that was really freaking good. That was a nice homecoming. Like, it's not as if you can't find like Japanese food out where I'm living right now. It's just that it's in the middle of the freaking continent, and you can't really get good Japanese food, like truly stellar Japanese food, or even like A-tier Japanese food, like what I would consider A to A+ tier, without going to the coastlines, where there's like a really, really large like Asian population to provide the history, the culture, the general practices, the general expected quality, like the food that a Japanese traveler would expect when they land in San Francisco and want a taste of home before they set out to do whatever they want, right? You'll get B tier. Like, as long as you live near like a major like international airport, or at least within proximity of its metropolis, you will generally be able to find decent international food. It's just that you need an immigrant population to really keep that standard high, right? And that's the thing. You really need to have like a good idea of what the food's supposed to taste like because you grew up eating it. And it's really hard for me, for example, to find good Taiwanese food anywhere. Even in California, I need to go to a specific neighborhood up in Cupertino, like where the restaurant owner happens to have spent most of his life growing up in Taiwan and moved here for the opportunity like 3 decades ago. And then I know that I'm tasting something that tastes a little more like my hometown, right? Or I have to make it myself. That's fair. That's kind of the cost we have to put up with for the opportunities elsewhere. But at the end of it, I actually did finally make it to the Hyatt Regency. I got settled in. By the time I actually made it to the hotel, which is like a 15-minute shuttle drive away from the airport, like pretty good, pretty reasonable. It was, however, 10:30 at night, which means it was too late to do bag pickups. Which means I missed the whole first day of activities, which was completely expected because I completely forgot that my airline ticket was that late in the day in the first place. I figured, you know what, I don't need to do a morning flight. No, I probably should have. I missed a lot of opportunities that way. I missed meet a whole lot of people that will only go be there for 1 day, right? And that kind of sucked. But that didn't mean I simply go to bed. No, I didn't go to bed right away because my room was literally next to all the room parties. And let me tell you about the room parties. The room parties are really freaking loud. and full of cosplayers and bro semis and alcohol. A lot of booze. I had the what did I get? What was it called again? The Gyaru Sunshine, which is basically a sunshine. It's basically the classic cocktails with like only 1 or 2 changes to it to like reflect whatever company or fan group was hosting the mix, right? This bro semi, by the way, was single-handedly manning the bar for the entire night up until, of course, they got shut down a little early because unfortunately they were a little too rowdy. I can tell because I could hear them banging on the connecting door to my room. Not this one specifically, but there was another one ran by the Anikura folks that was literally right next door to me. As in, I pretty much dropped my shit and ran out to meet with people because I knew I wasn't going to get any sleep that night. I did not get to sleep until about 3 a.m. Now, the party closed before then. I assume got really distracted because, you know, it was fun. It was fun meeting people for the first time, saying hi to the Domo slaves, especially the Domo Arigato thanks fan server, or not even fan server, his servers. It was just the Domodachis. Got to meet Domo for the first time, met his girlfriend, met Guy, his producer. Domo really helped me, like, I'm especially thankful to Domo, right? Because he was one of the like couple of people that early on, when I was just starting out, really helped me like get into community, thanks to his Domodachi's programs, which he hasn't done for a while because he's been so freaking busy for last year with his own personal shit and with hosting the events. Let me tell you something about that. I will be bringing this up, but Offkai, as much fun as I had in Offkai 2, I cannot say that this was a perfect event, and they know it wasn't a perfect event. Because the tech delays and their lack of a proper contingency plan for tech issues meant that some of the panels were delayed for over 30 minutes to an hour, right? Pushing the entire schedule back for every single day that we were there. And Domo, given the connections he's made in the industry, given his reputation, especially his work with V Shoujo, was the MC for many of their biggest main stage panels. And that guy held it down like a goddamn soldier. Like, he was asked to tank over 30 minutes of dead air at a time to keep his audience entertained and laughing, and to keep the actual guests that were like the centerpieces of the performance like sufficiently backed up that people were still able to enjoy their time at Offkai despite the delays, despite the internet going down for half an hour, despite the fact that the main stage was a dead spot for Wi-Fi, period. Whatever network boosters were in the room were completely inaccessible to the staff. They simply didn't work. As soon as you stepped through the doorway, your own Wi-Fi, no matter, or in your own wire, like 5G signal for your phone, were completely cut off. But he held it down. Domo saved the fucking day multiple times throughout the event. Like, I'm not sure how much he's gotten paid to be hosting these events, but honestly, whatever it was, they should be giving him a pretty freaking stiff bonus. Like, as it was, there was still a lot of incidents, there was still a lot of chaos. Yes, it was in fact a lot of chaos, a lot of drama for them to deal with, right? But he did the best he could, and honestly, props to the dude, because I've been in similar situations in public speaking, and it's hard to keep it going if you don't have any materials like pre-prepped for like as long as he has. And sometimes he just like had no space whatsoever to do so, right? He would sit down before the events about to like chow down on a sandwich, and suddenly get told, we need you up on stage actually to cover for us because our tech has gone down. We need a distraction for like, give us 15 minutes. No, give us 30 minutes. Yeah, that was honestly kind of shit of them. But I can't even blame Offkai staff too much about that, because from what I heard, it was a lot of tech issues that the vendor that was providing them the hardware gave them really crappy hardware that simply wasn't up to standards. And honestly, this is their second year. For many of the organizers, this is their second ever time doing this, much less like much as like it's like having the actual experience to like know how to prevent these issues from showing up in the first place, or know how to do like pre-checks long before you sign off on the contract, right? So not knowing which vendors to trust, not knowing how to make sure that tech problems weren't going to like affect their day, so on and so forth. Like, year 3 will be better. Year 3 will be better. As it was, there's also the extra wrinkle to the situation in that this is their first time using the Hyatt Regency in the first place, given that they were in the San Jose Doubletree on their first year. So not only did they have massive growth, and not only did they have to have a whole bunch, like, have the general inexperience that only time and pain will really teach you how to avoid, but it was a whole new environment for them to set up in the first place as well. So literally everything might as well have been the first time for them again, right? Except for a little bit of, like, they did not expect Offkai to grow as big as it was, and even in the first year, they didn't expect it to be as big as it was the first time around. So as long as the VTuber scene is as strong as it is, and has only really gone from strength to strength in the intervening years, well, I guess it kind of taper off, like, without the pandemic boost, this year was a little slower growth in general. You can see that in the lack of, like, any real urgency from Hololive or Nijissaji to really capitalize on it with, like, well, no, Nijissaji definitely released a whole bunch of new generations, but Hololive is like my leading indicator for the overall health of the scene, right? They haven't really bothered releasing a new generation for a while, although they've been really busy setting up partnership networks throughout the US. They're having their first ever Inside only concert, like, within a couple weeks. So they're still really doing really healthy, and the scene is still flourishing. It's just not nearly as explosive as it was during the 2020 era, right? Even so, I expect Offkai 3 to be even bigger. Like, even bigger than it is right now. So yeah. By about 3 a.m. I was done for the first day. I tried to sleep. I got less than 5 hours. Less than 5 hours before I had to, not that I had to wake up for anything. I didn't have anything scheduled for that day, but I was simply forced awake, right? Like, morning starts sooner in California in general, but I also had a bunch of booze in me, which means that I didn't sleep very well in the first place. And of course, there was the sunlight blasting me in the eye and forcing me awake because my body doesn't like trying to sleep when there's any amount of light out. So I went downstairs, grabbed some breakfast, had a lox that was much more expensive than it should be, and yet cheaper than it was that I expected for a 4 or 5 star California hotel. And in fact, the overall food situation was really freaking good. This is a really good lox. In terms of, like, West Coast, East Coasters will complain about the quality of West Coast bagels all day, but this is a pretty damn good one. The salmon was good. The paper thin onion slices were perfect. I squeezed a whole bunch of lemon onto the cream cheese because, of course, you're supposed to do. And I also had just a whole bunch of espresso to go with it. That was good breakfast. Good breakfast. It was, along with the espresso and along with the extra energy drinks I had throughout the day, it was a great way to properly start the weekend. Gave me the energy I needed, of which I promptly squandered by visiting the arcade for the first time, realizing they had a DDR-A20 Plus machine, wanting to see how good the pads were compared to my home set, discovered that it was crisp as hell, and played 9 songs back to back until my back and legs were ruined. At which case I was just really tired for the rest of the day. I'm an addict, and my addiction is DDR songs. I will say I did very, very well on that machine. People started playing after watching me because I was getting A's, I was getting A pluses, I was getting double A perfects. I was having a pretty good time, and I also learned that I really hate Konami's step charts because they're really fucking boring. They're a little too easy. Fan-made songs of the same difficulty will have a lot of like changing patterns or like weaving different related patterns with each other, right? You'll do a lot of switch ups, you'll do a lot of double taps into triple steps, but it was all triple steps, like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 steps for a bunch of 820 songs, and that was just really, really frustrating to play. I spent 9 songs trying to find if there was like anything worth playing, And by the time I was satisfied with my selection and figured out, no, there was just nothing for me here. I had probably exhausted myself, hurt my back, and forced myself to like buy a bottle of Aleve to basically alleviate the pain. But that's all. I also had there's a whole bunch of food pics on this live, honestly. But it was good food, cause this shit was only $8. Okay. The size of the picture doesn't do it justice. This thing is the size of my freaking head. This thing was, they call it the kamikaze, which is definitely an interesting name. It's not what I would have gone for, especially since a good part of it was kimchi. But it's kimchi, it's eel sauce, unagi sauce, sriracha aioli over tater tots with a whole bunch of green onions and sesame seeds. And it was actually pretty freaking good. For $8, hella worth. What else? Right. Day 2, let me see. Day 2, there was a lot of meeting people. There was a lot of getting to know people a little better. I went to the dealer's hall, the vendor's hall, for a long time to scout out everything that was being sold. Let me actually drag some of the stuff out from my pack, actually. I still have most of it in my pack. Give me a second. All right, here we go. Okay, so in terms of what I got from the vendor's hall, number one thing, they Offkai made a genius move this year of releasing like limited release trading cards for VTubers, right? And these are hotly contested. The problem is I did not get what I want. Okay, so you get one card just for showing up to registration and getting your stuff, right? The stamp rally, which I failed to take part of, and I probably should, will give you more, or at least give you a chance to spin for more. And every single time you spend $5 in the dealers and the con store specifically, you will get another card. And I was chasing my ass off for Orihime card because she had one. She was one of the panelists for one of the events. I'll get into that later because I took a lot of pictures for that. And I tried incessantly to find people with Orihime cards, but so far I have only seen 4 existence, seen a mere 4, and those did not go to me. One of the other Orihime community folks, our cord, got 3. One of them is going to Orihime, and I just couldn't find them at all. Now I got some decent cards. Like, I'm not upset to get, like, what was it? No, this is just the Offkai mascot. Let's see. I got Issa card, but I sold it off to somebody who's going to give it to what was it, her rigger. I got Reroll Wrong card and Lord Aethelstan, which is all nice. I respect them a lot, but they were not Orihime, and that was the one I was looking for, and nobody was going to sell it either. God damn. Please, next year, Offkai, please release more cards so I can buy them. Like, sell booster boxes if you have to. I'll buy one off the top. Like, I should. The thing about it, though, is that I plan to keep this card so I have the opportunity to have these signed later on, right? Like, it's just a show of respect. To get those signed later, show them that I'm watching them, show them that I've been paying attention to their shit, and, you know, it feels good to be asked for your autograph, as I found. Otherwise, I also bought a whole bunch of stickers for myself. I slapped some of them on my fight stick. In fact, where's my fight stick? Hold on. Since you guys haven't been watching me for over a year because I wasn't on YouTube for a year, I did get a junk food arcade. Here, let me move it over. Snack box micro. Most of these stickers obviously predate Offkai, but I did get the Ina sticker. I really like that. Humu. Just watching him over me while I play. The selling bear costume is really cute. I just love that. And this is from one of the Domodachi folks. So, not buyable, but I'm thankful to have it. What I plan to do is just like cover this in stickers eventually, alright? I'll have to like actually take the whole thing apart so I can apply the stickers properly around the holes and everything. But I'll get around to that eventually. I also got a bunch of stuff to put onto my laptop, including Lushen, which is by far my favorite sticker of the entire damn event. That thing is objectively hilarious. This definitely goes on my laptop, or at least it will as soon as I replace my laptop, because the current one's kind of crap. I also got one. This is just a really cool Tenchi sticker from the con store. I also went to the meet and greets. The meet and greets come with a postcard for just like you showing up, right? I went to Onigiri's, talked about whether or not she wanted to go to Taiwan one of these days to check out the night market. I think she would be pretty happy to do so. She said as much, but it just obviously depends on the schedule. She did, however, move to Japan recently, so the odds are much better now because the trip from Japan to Taiwan is honestly pretty damn affordable, right? Pretty damn affordable compared to going to Taiwan from the US, obviously. But now that she's in the region, she has no excuse. Onigiri, if you're hearing about this some way, somehow, I can't imagine how you would. Yeah, absolutely, I'm holding you to your promise to go to Taiwan and check it out someday. The night markets are calling for you. Also, this postcard's really, really lewd, so I'm not going to show off too much. She's a fun talent. I especially like that she focuses that her content niche is specifically on food and cooking and like having people show off their favorite meals as well, right? And that's a lot of fun. But also all of her art is really freaking lewd, like A+ tier lewd at a minimum. Jeez, that girl. Also went to a Numi's, and that also is a story and a half. I love Numi's singing, although some of her song lyrics probably count as the opposite of work safe. Like the platonic opposite of work safe lyrics. But she's a really but if you haven't seen Numi's or heard Numi on Spotify, she is a really talented singer, even when she's not doing really horny meme songs. She even had a concert at Offkai, and that was one of the ones that Domo was emceeing, and that was also one of the ones that Domo had to stall for over half an hour because of the equipment setups. So I feel really sorry for her. I kind of got a gift when talking to her that she wasn't fully over the how sour the experience was for her concert, but she has by far one of the most supportive communities I've seen at Offkai, and that is saying a lot because there were a lot of highly supportive communities throughout the entire damn event, right? Like Offkai, the joke is that everybody at Offkai is a VTuber, which is not entirely false. You would find it difficult to turn around and not accidentally bump into a VTuber, is what I'll say. There's another term for that I kind of find kind of an outdated and cruel joke about cats, but you know how it goes. But I met Numi, said hi to her, said I appreciate her songs. I hope she's feeling a lot better at this point, but I do enjoy her content a lot, and also she's friends with Rory, so I gotta support my friends, you know, that's how it works. But yeah, those were 2 meet and greets I managed to have the time for. I really wanted to get into Selen Tatsuki's event meet and greet as well, but unfortunately that was on Friday, and that was hours before I landed. So sad. Maybe next year. Selen's definitely one of my top favorite VTubers. Not for any particular reason except that I find her to be extremely hilarious. The way she interacts with Apex pros and just the general community is by far one of the funniest out there. And completely effortlessly funny too. She just likes to troll, and the trolling is almost always in good humor, and therefore it works. You know, that's why I appreciate. So yeah. Also, let's see. I bought Kaison's maid standee, not for any particular purpose, because maid shit is not necessarily something I'm into. But this got me another gotcha for the Offkai trading cards. And also, Kaison has been something I've been paying attention to for years now. If you know her story, you know. If you don't know her story, I'll just say that her voice is really distinctive, no matter what kind of name she's going under. So if you've been following for a while, you know. If you haven't, you can ask around. What else did I get? Obviously the poster, which also came with a VTube Studio VTube, which is hilarious. Yeah, Kaysun's just a lot of fun. And oh right, Kaysun also won. She was the grand finalist for the contest to star in the next two Like a Dragon games, the Yakuza games, which great for her. As you know, if you know anything about Kaysun and especially what she's done before, she is probably the world's biggest Kiryu fangirl. So definitely she fully deserves to represent the game series. I'm happy that she's getting a chance to like basically meet her virtual husbando. The poster itself I got from Offkai is the official Offkai poster, which has everybody's emojis. Each and every single one of these is a different VTuber, and some of these I even fully recognize. Like this, for example, that has to be Girl DM. Here, let me see. There we go. The controller with the ears. I'm pretty sure that's Punkalopia as well. Who else do I recognize? Oh, that has to be Shy Lily, the whale. And who else? Oh, hey, this is Orihime's, the Oreo princess. That's Numi's. Why her stamp happens to be her being pregnant, I have no idea why. Actually, I probably have plenty of ideas why that horny brat. This is Hime from Face Connect. Yeah, Preggers. Numi is part of the Bikini Bottom, like not an official group, more of a. I guess the name started as a podcast name, but honestly, it just basically describes that entire cliche of women VTubers that on Twitch that happen to be known for being particularly horny, being particularly chaotic. I guess is the even better term. Sometimes it's just Numi, Bao, Yuzu. Yes, exactly. Also, Shy Lily counts as well. Numi, Bao, Yuzu, and Shy Lily. Shy Lily is more of a recent addition, I think. But they definitely tend to be on the crazier side of things, right? Enough so that it's probably the primary reputation, especially for Bao, who will otherwise be better known for her singing. But goddamn, ever since Bao's Elden Ring arc, God, that girl's degenerated. Yeah, Shy Lily is the womp. Shy Lily is the orca that goes womp womp. And also temporarily got banned for the her 3D costume, basically. Singing or dog noises, exactly. That girl can bark. Offkai also had the appearance of Vita Ramen. If you've seen Tim's streams or Tim's commercials, Vita Ramen has sponsored a lot of VTuber activities, especially among indie VTubers. And Tim has released a lot of VTuber themed ramen sets. And specifically today, I tried out the Onigiri collab, right? Which was the vegan spicy seiso version 3.0. This is actually pretty good. I would say that Vita Ramen's, I would call this like if you're going for a specific direction in your health, it would be okay. It's still, I would consider it still a little more expensive than I would like it. And their lack of a keto option bothers me because I don't eat carbs at the moment, except for when I'm on vacation. I eat so many carbs into this vacation, I have so much fat to burn off. But I will say, this was pretty good. It's less spicy in terms of Scovilles than you might think when you hear spicy seiso. But it has a lot of Sichuan peppercorns, right? The numbing peppercorns. And that I like. I think they're called prickly ash peppercorns in English. Maybe. But either way, it was pretty damn good. I had it with some stir-fried oyster mushrooms, chickens, and spinach. And it didn't kick my ass because I have a stupidly high spice tolerance these days. But it did give me that pleasant, tongue-numbing sensation that you get from high-quality peppercorn. So I enjoy this a lot. I think the only thing that could make it a little better is if it was a little more spicy traditionally, and if it had a bit of a more of a zesty kick to it. It's pretty earthy as it is, which is still pretty good. It's ramen. But yeah, excellent. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I'd gladly eat it again. Although not for a while because because it is carb loading. What else did I get? What is on the pack? Oh, right. Speaking of which, I spent so much of the con digging around for my wallet specifically to hand out my own self-branded business card. The logo is by Orihime, who's done a lot of my logo branding sets, honestly, especially the overlay I'm using right now. And it has a little bit of reflectiveness, a little more pizzazz, a little more to catch the eye. And I gave it to a lot of people, and hopefully that'll pay some dividends. But honestly, it was just to show off that I had this in the first place. It was nice. It felt not the thing about Offkai for me that's honestly felt a little bit on the weird side was that it was basically a cross. On a personal level, it was basically felt like a cross between an industry event and a fan event, right? Like I've been to anime cons before. I grew up in the San Jose area. I used to go to Fanime Con every single year, even cosplay a few times. Although you'd be hard pressed to find any pictures of me because frankly they're kind of cheap cosplays made for the fun of it rather than showing off my sewing skills or anything, right? But there's a big difference in the feel between going to a professional convention and a fan convention. But Offkai somehow manages to straddle that difference. It's mostly just because of the people, right? I'm going as a content creator trying to make connections, or at least trying to meet the people that I've made connections with prior. And that definitely lent a different flavor to the conversations that we're having. There was some shop talk, there was some industry folks, there was talking with some of the staff about what they could be doing next year to improve the situation, or if there was any help that they needed to happen to fit my skill set, or that of the company I'm currently working for, right? That's definitely a very, very different conversation than that you have normally for an anime con, right? Or a gaming con. So that made the business cards definitely worth it, I think. There are a couple people that were asking around for possible collabs in the future. Hopefully I'll hear from them when they have settled in and had a chance to think about whether or not they want to be talking to that weird Asian dude that they met up during Offkai. You know how it goes. But overall it's pretty damn fun. And the fact that we were deepening some connections along the way made it feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Constructive. More constructive than these events normally would have been, right? It was not only fun, it was also purposeful. And I think that it lends an interesting flavor to things that I otherwise have not experienced before at these kind of events. Because otherwise I'm generally kind of industry events find themselves kind of boring. Oh, also, right, glow stick, battery powered glow stick with what was it called? Programmable lights. I completely forgot to use it during the concert, which was a lot of fun to watch. I'll get a second one next year so I can do some of the wave around, just have some fun with it. But yeah, I forgot to actually get batteries for these two. They require how many? 3 AAAs? God damn. Okay. Well, I have rechargeables, although I'm using half of them for my VR set. I'll handle it next year. Let me put these away. What I definitely plan to do is get a cork board to put some of this stuff up as a memorial to my experiences over there. I think that's definitely worth. Okay, there we go. I'll put that away. Go back to Chrome. All right, where was I? Let's see. Second meal of the day was a lot of door dashing to keep ourselves fed, because unfortunately the Hyde Regency, although it's within walking distance of a few things, the walking distance is a really rough descriptor. It's more like I have to walk a lot, 10 minutes or more to get to anything interesting. So I door dash a lot, and yet despite that, I used less money than I was planning to, which is good. I don't want to go home broke, but I do not mean to budget. I just don't complain about spending over $1,000 on Uber fees, and god damn, dude, why would you do that? Just use the BART, use the public transportation. It's San Jose. It's not freaking Texas, where there is no such thing as public transportation out where I am. But yeah. Other than that, that was good chicken curry with a lot of hot sauce and a proper brown sugar boba. Let me see. And what else? What else? A lot of hanging around, a lot of drinking, a lot of soju. And then we were on to Sunday, which was the Orihime panel. And I have one of Orihime shirts. So, you know, I was prepared. I was dripping out. I was ready to show off support for her panel later that day. But first, some breakfast. You drank the limited edition XP flavored Coca-Cola sponsored by League of Legends. Is that thing as nasty as I imagined it was? Yeah, it was trash. That's expected. Yeah, I don't know. What was it? Coca-Cola also released that like Star Dust or some Galaxy or some kind of like bubblegum tasting trash. I mean, it's collectible, I guess. But day 2 was the Continental Buffet instead, where they actually had chicken dumplings. That was nice. My breakfast for some reason was really brown, but it was honestly pretty tasty. I thought that was like proper melons. Properly ripe melons too. You know the difference? You know, these melons over here, where you get them, what time of the year you get them really matters, right? Because this and cantaloupe can taste really bland if you're shipping them across, across the continent. But honeydew and I forgot what this melon is called. No, yeah, honeydew. This is honeydew. Green ones are cantaloupes. No, this is cantaloupes. The green ones are melon dews. I forgot which. They tend to be served next to each other because they grow in the same region at the same time of year, right? But these are really, really sweet. Like, actually, like, you can tell why they're called honey kind of sweet. And that was good. That was good. I went to the Pretty Parrots panel hosted by Domo after that, which is completely full up. If you don't know who Pretty Parrots is, he's one of the major community music composers for VTubers. If you've listened to a lot of the songs from Anna from Niji Sanji's side, he has done a lot of work for her and others. And he also did End of Life for Calliope Mori on Whole Life side as well. He's done a little bit of something for everybody. End of the Life especially is one of my favorite songs from his side. It was released really early on as well. It's just hard to top that. Like that sense of like depression and nostalgia and like not necessarily wishing to go back to where you were, but missing the things that you once had even as you become more successful. Boy, once you reach a certain age, that hits hard. That hits painfully hard. Let's see, what else? Met a whole bunch of VTubers. Nurse Ambi had an amazing Kafka cosplay. Gucci is one of the most well-networked mods in the VTuber community. Also, just like a stand-up guy. Like he's not only he doesn't network everybody for the clout. He networks everybody because he actually believes in shit and like actually wants to help the community grow. And you know what? He's done a pretty damn good job of it. He's helped establish a really strong network of community moderators throughout many of the major VTubers. Single-handedly set up the shared block list for like 30 of them, and overall, he's even set up like probably the most commonly used like moderator application forms used amongst the community at the moment. I probably should use it soon if I plan to open Discord. I'm probably well past the point, honestly. But yeah. I took this picture while we were in line for Orihime's panel, along with Shina and Saki. It was the design panel for to discuss basically their design process, the considerations they have for making graphic assets, for making branding. I use so much of Orihime's branding. I'm very, very lucky, not just to have her as my friend, but I've managed to like collab with her, not just like on streams and such, but for branding work as well. And Ori's never done anything less than a stellar job on my behalf, right? I can't imagine doing anything more than what she's already offered me. But if you see over here, you'll notice that there's a very similar looking cosplayer over here. And actually, yeah, there are Orihime cosplayers, at least one Orihime cosplayer at convention. This was taken during the Numi line, the Numi meet and greet line. They are in fact one of the crumps in the Discord, and they just went full out on cosplay, man. That's an amazing looking cosplay. She was overjoyed to see it. I actually had to delete the original tweet I made about this and delete all the references I made in the Discord, because they were actually planning to surprise her with it later on. I almost spoiled it for them. I actually had to DM Ori specifically, tell her, don't check offline spam for a bit. Don't check your Discord for a bit, or else I'm going to accidentally ruin the surprise for you. So almost. I almost ruined things for him. I almost ruined the surprise, but no. It went off okay. They met with Jeremy. Jeremy Please was helping, basically giving Orihime the virtual tour for the event. I wasn't able to run into Jeremy, but I'm glad that she was able to have some fun at the event. She was nervous as hell for the panel. I'm glad that it went off without a hitch for them. Not completely without hits, because they only had time for one question. I was hoping to show up with a T-shirt and that wore off of her and everything, and just embarrass the heck out of her in a good way, of course, in a good way. But yeah, Sheila and Saki and Ori all did an amazing job at breaking down the design considerations that go into VTuber branding, and I legitimately learned a lot about how design elements are put together to make assets that actually look good, compared to a lot of my year zero attempts at making my own assets using stock photography that sort of fit the mood and everything. You know, all that shit was hand done, by the way, hand drawn or just like slapped together. That was tough. Yeah, Ori was nervous as heck, but I'm happy that she ultimately had a good time being a panelist at Offkai. And after the panel, had some drinks. A proper Mai Tai. That was really good. This was a really good drink. I wouldn't consider it my drink in particular, but it's definitely up there among the tastier things I've put down the stomach and gave myself drunken vibes for the rest of the day. I think this was the one I drank along. No, I didn't have any mac and cheese. I'm that stupid. Right, I went to Vendor's Hall afterwards and just spent a whole bunch of money. A whole bunch of money. This is actually a Luwud's work, and Luwud is spelled L-U-W-U-D. It's not work safe, so if you look that up, don't look it up with company around, you know? It's either really memey stuff like this sticker, which is amazing. It's by far my favorite sticker of the entire damn vendor hall, or as you can see, there's a whole bunch of body pillows just basically blurred out behind there. That's exactly what you think it is. Yeah. And afterwards, more stickers, applied more. And the rest of that evening was basically extended party from 7 to 11, so about 4 hours worth. I was just hanging out at the atrium at the floor of the hotel, like an elevated area next to the restaurant where all the tables are. And we basically just had some drunken hanging out for many hours. I actually went to bed kind of early because I had an early morning, not early morning flight, but I wanted to get to airport in the morning. So I wasn't able to stay for a full duration, but people were staying out there until like 3 or 4 a.m. There was so much soju. I discovered that not everything with a Korean label was necessarily soju, because when you read the English on it, it turns out that half of the flavored shit was actually just cheap flavored vodka. And you can tell the difference. Because proper soju, even if it's flavored, is dangerous shit. That thing has about as much burn as mineral water, as in no burn at all. That alcohol burn you're used to feeling when you drink a proper liquor, no, it just tastes like peach juice. Literally just peach juice. I am normally really sensitive to the taste and the feel of alcohol, but with the more expensive soju shit, smooth as butter is one way to put it. Smooth as water is closer. I did not drink more than I could handle. I'm glad to say that I have a very good grasp of my limitations there. But the people around me cannot necessarily be say the same. I don't think we had any incidents at Offkai, unlike TwitchCon, where some of the folks I knew were unfortunately victims of suspected victims of Rohypnol incidents. At least they think it is, because the hangover for them were unusually bad during TwitchCon. But so far, I've been paying close attention to the media feeds. There doesn't seem to be any sort of that kind of incidents at Offkai, and that's mostly because the majority of the people watching Over the Alcohol are mods. There are a lot of mods and a lot of incentives to play nice with each other because we knew faces, right? And we knew reputations. There was at least one guy that the community recognized as recognized as a stalker that was basically chased away by security a couple times. The guy had a reputation from previous cons that he was kicked out of, and unfortunately he was being a bit of a slimy bastard, trying to sneak. Like, this happened in a direct conversation that I was involved with, that he would, over the course of a 10-minute stretch, he would go from the farthest seat in a general section and like inch closer and closer to the girls one seat at a time without actually saying anything or looking at anybody, right? And then I think I caught him trying to get an upskirt glimpse at one of the girls, but he wasn't able to, because as soon as we saw that he was way too close, all the guys basically stepped in and had our backs to him. So all he got was a nice face full of raw butts instead. And then he was chased away by security because there was no way we were going to tolerate his presence for very long. So yeah, unfortunately, it is a VTuber convention. Unfortunately, there is a high propensity among VTuber fans to hold really, at least not necessarily like a majority propensity, but definitely a higher than average tendency for there to be unhealthy parasocial relationships between VTuber fans and the targets of their fandom, right? And some people just do not know how to socialize properly. I don't know if there was like a history there or anything, if he just like, if what he really needed was a lot of help and a lot of like socialization outside of a convention context. But the guy was definitely making the girls uncomfortable, so he was not allowed anywhere near us. Speaking of being awkward though, I have to admit, I am not very comfortable in the group. I'm happy to say that I don't think I came off as a particular creep to anybody, right? There was plenty of people coming up to me and like starting discussions on their own terms, and I'm really, really grateful for that, because I am just an awkward mess in public situations most of the time, right? And the fact that people seem to be having fun talking to me in my presence is something I'm really, really grateful for. I'm sure that a lot, and what's comfortable for me to know in that kind of situation is that VTubers in general tend to be awkward social messes anyhow as well. That the majority of VTubers, no matter how like extroverted they might seem when they have some alcohol in them, are really, really bad introverts on their own terms and their own private lives. Like the booze has been mankind's best friend for tens of thousands of years, specifically because it's basically a social lubricant. Even if you're an introvert, a couple of shots of soju in, you're more willing to talk to each other than you would be otherwise, right? And that's true for me and everybody else there as well. I was able to share some words between like some former VTubers and their friends that I'm happy to. I'm very, very happy to be able to help facilitate those kind of connections. It feels good, to help facilitate friendships that might have otherwise slipped under the radar, simply because life and everything else gets in the way, and it's hard to maintain connections when you stop making content with people who are really busy trying to make content their lives work, like trying to make creative, like public audience work as their main thing. And everybody here, introverted or extroverted, drunk or sober, younger or old, as in my case, I'm really freaking old. We're pretty much here for the same thing. We're pretty much here under the same set of incentives, and specifically for that moment, we're there to have a good ass time. And by and large, technical issues aside, couple bits of drama here and there aside, we had a really fucking good time. That's the best time I've had since EVO last year. And EVO last year was a very different situation, because EVO last year I wasn't there for market, for like networking or to hang out with buddies specifically. I was there specifically to compete at EVO and get some fight game experience on my belt. And I will be at EVO again this year. I've already set aside the PTO, set aside the plane tickets and everything. I will be at EVO this year, so cheer me on. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I do not regret attending Offkai whatsoever, regardless of how much it cost me or didn't cost me. I do regret perhaps not going earlier to go to more panels. I regret the occasional bits where I was too shy to talk to people, to talk to certain creators that I know and recognize, but they seemed busy at the time and didn't want to intrude. I should have at least said hi and say I appreciate your work. I hope you have a good con, and here's my business card, right? Just like next time I'm going to have that kind of routine, like set, practice well and like ready to go. I still have like 100 business cards to go through. Although they need to be updated with my, no. I guess this set I'll keep just to, as for the memory of it. Actually, wait. It doesn't have my Discord information. Perfect. So they can still apply. Never mind. They can just email me for my Discord information. I can ask for theirs later on. Yeah, the biggest regret is simply not doing enough, or not doing more. I did enough. I did the minimum I was expecting to do. I got more than the minimum out of it than I expected. I was able to help people make better memories than they would have otherwise. That's always a plus. Number one plus. But I would have liked to do more. I think no matter what I would have done, I would have felt like I wanted to do more. And that's a good thing. There is such as good regrets, right? The feeling that you want to do more is infinitely more precious than feeling satisfied. Because then you have something to look forward to next time. You have something to look forward to, you have something to plan for. Next year, I may even want to talk to people about something like an FGC panel to see what we can do about that. I don't know. It's just that for the last year or so, I felt like I was starting to run out of energy, right? I changed jobs at the end of 2022. Simply, my position was made redundant by the company investors, so my boss actively helped me look for work elsewhere. I very naturally slid into my current company, which is full of a bunch of fine folks, right? But I'm busier than ever for no increase in pay, right? And no increase in resources. Especially since my work is still very much adjacent to the gaming industry. If anything, adjacent is the wrong word now. My previous job was kind of adjacent to it because I didn't really have much involvement on the industry side. But this one, the client work is specifically entails a lot of industry-specific work. And as you can imagine, especially with the Summer Game Fest and all the showcases that you've been watching for the last 2 weeks, those have been a cause of a lot of stress for me. It's a lot of fun watching them from the outside. It's a lot of fun to be hosting streams from the outside. But if you remember my streams with Skyen, especially over the last 2 years, where we usually have a stream covering the Game Awards, covering Summer Game Fest, covering all of that, and you notice that I haven't been doing anything this year, that's because I can't. Out of both timing considerations and NDA considerations, I refuse to have a conflict of interest. I don't want to be linked to the work I've been doing IRL, so therefore I've avoided mentioning them entirely, except to mention that I'm working on shit that keeps me from streaming shit, right? And that's kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'm happy to be employed. To be fair, I'm especially happy with the company I'm currently involved in. We're too busy, but everybody here has been good eggs. Like they've been excellent people. Very respectable, whatever class we might have, it's nothing major. It's mostly just on a professional level. I've been able to contribute positively to not necessarily impress my bosses, but to have his respect, which is always good. I've been able to comport myself honorably in a lot of major projects that you probably have heard about and I will not be talking about. I just wish they didn't keep me so busy. I want to do more VTuber shit. I'm coming out of Offkai thinking, I don't want to stop doing this anytime soon. Like, the only reason you'll be hearing about graduation for me is if something in my personal life or professional life is so disruptive that being Lushen Zener is no longer an option. And that could mean any number of things. That could mean that I've been promoted to a position that frankly I should not have any sort of social presence whatsoever, including even on the off chance I get discovered. Just in case, right? Just in case. That's nowhere near soon. I'm too new in this company to be even thinking about putting me in that kind of position. Or I'll be frank, if I can accept this letter from an agency, I'll take it. I'll take it not because of the fame or the fortune they may be offering. Although let's be fair, if you can do whole life with Nisha Sanji, you have a really fucking solid base. No, but that doesn't matter. I'll even join a smaller agency I have to, as long as they can promise me one important thing: that I'm able to sustainably do this full time. Like, I have a whole bunch of ideas, a whole bunch of projects. If you see my channel in the last year or so, you know that I've at least uploaded one story, and I've been working up the energy and capability to work on more. But I've been too busy. I have another story another story project I want to do, but I haven't been able to find the time to even pen the second draft. Oh no, don't get me wrong, the money's great. If I can be like a whole star or a Tempest, if I can be part of Tempest Crew, I'll take it. Like, I will probably be making more money than I am on this current job, even if they're not necessarily making the most money, right? Because the energy's in a bit of a tough spot right now, so asking for raises or taking on a new job to increase my paycheck is proving really difficult. But I will take my current level of pay if it means doing this full time. If it means collaborating full time. If it means doing stories full time. If it means doing a couple singing projects full time. If it means doing skits full time. The sheer privilege and luxury it would be to be able to be a full-time content creator, specifically on terms that I want to create under, would be freaking amazing. But I can't do that right now. I regret that. Like, I want to be able to run VTuber fighting game tournaments. I want to do like invitationals, exhibition matches, shit like that. Tutorials even. Do more shorts to post on YouTube Shorts or TikTok, which by the way, I have a TikTok channel. But right now I'm so busy with my real life shit that for a while I'll start to lose motivation. Start to think, well, maybe it's time to toss in a towel on one of these things, right? Maybe it's time to toss in a towel as a VTuber, or only go like once a week streams, or even once a month if I have to, just to keep on top of my workload. Which is not something I want to do, especially not after Offkai. Especially not after meeting all these people, being excited for the possibilities of being able to interact with them more, to make more, create more with them, to do something that isn't just to serve the interest of some other company, right? To put words in the mouths of executives, to be writing my 10 millionth email this week and 10 billionth Excel spreadsheets for whatever project we're working on. It's not as if the current work I'm doing isn't necessarily rewarding, because the people that we benefit are definitely people I respect. But no matter how much money I make out of this, or I can make out of this, the absolute number one thing I want to do is be able to create whatever weird ass shit it is that makes my brain tickle. We're not even feeding the poor CEOs on this one, man. Like, I won't say too much about what I'm working for, but we have clients of all sizes. Like, these are a lot of these people are people that you're going to naturally want to support anyhow because of what they're trying to accomplish. I'm really happy about that. Coincidentally, one of our clients was a longtime friend of mine, all the way back to when I was just a high schooler. Like, I've known this guy for a while. We haven't talked much in recent years. I kind of stopped hanging out in the IRC server we used to be in. But I've known this guy for a while. He's definitely not eating off any gold-plated forks or anything like that, right? He's just trying to do his project. And I was quite happy to be able of some help to him. I'm not sure how well we did, but because I'm not privy to that kind of information. But I'm glad to be of some help. But yeah, ultimately we had to leave. And ultimately, I left with a full stomach. I visited the Japanese store, the Japanese restaurant in SFO again, and this time I grabbed their deluxe ramen and some sushi. Oh man, that was good shit. That was good. It was a little expensive. I'll fully admit, but worth the money. And ultimately, I still like underspent compared to what I was expecting to spend over the course of Offkai. But it was also a bit of a depression meal. I'm still feeling it as well. Because I have no idea when the next I'm going to see a lot of these people, right? I have no idea if the people I've been talking to will ever like get back to me online. We got all of our own lives, so we got all of our own considerations. A lot of the younger creators really want to complain when basically the friends that they think they've made or connected they think they made suddenly stop talking to them for whatever like professional purpose. And yeah, it kind of sucks. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of fakes in the community, but ultimately it's just like a matter of the more serious your profession becomes, the more sacrifices you're ultimately going to have to make. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're too big or too small, but how much you can prioritize on like a day by day or even hour by hour basis. And I don't know if they're gonna have time for me. I'll be frank. I don't create a whole lot of content. I don't stream nearly as much as I want to. Like, we're up to about an hour 30 minutes on this stream, and that's already like that. I've been streaming a lot more often these days. Like recently, I've been forcing myself to stream as much as possible, especially in preparation for Evil, right? Just to stream as much practice as I can, because I know that I inherently have years and years worth of a skill gap between me and the people I want to be able to challenge. And it's not as if I can just like roll up to Romola and say, "Hey, we play fighting games. Give me some time. Let's do like first to 10 and criticize me." I can't ask for that kind of time. Even if Romola was my best friend, I couldn't ask for that kind of time, right? Like, even with Ori, as much time and space as she makes for me out of the goodness of her own heart, I recognize that she's gonna be busy as fuck with her commissions. So what kind of friend will I be if I try to demand more time than is convenient for her in general, right? Or anybody else. And what do I have to offer as a 300 follower VTuber on both Twitch and YouTube, right? The unfortunate fact of it is that I'm also able to look through the lens of somebody working from the corporate side as well. And pragmatically, I don't even show up on radar. I would like to one of these days. I would love to give people more reasons to create with me. But the system we're working in is very much the winners win more, right? And I need to do something I need to show that I'm not wasting their time and effort. That the generosity they show me by giving me their time is not squandered. And maybe that kind of sounds like a really sad way to look at things, but it's also like, that's capitalism, baby. It affects relationships at all levels, and especially if you're trying to create at full time. If your rent and your bills depend on you being entertaining to the general public, then you need to be focused on creating with not only like-minded people, not only people with shared interests, but people that aren't going to be charity cases, is the way I would put it. And the VTuber community, I have found, is not short on generosity. They are not short on charity. But I want to be more than a charity case. It's frustrating to me that I can't necessarily spend the time I want to spend, or even the emotional energy I want to be able to spend at the end of the day when I'm exhausted from work and I've spent 8 hours staring at spreadsheets to be able to do what I can to make my efforts work worth the while of everybody else that I want to make it worth too, right? I don't want to be mooching off of Sky and Ori. I want to be able to be a contributing factor to their welfare and happiness as much as they've been to me. And they will be the first to tell me that my friendship alone is more than enough because they're good people. And that's why I'm more than happy to keep on pinging them for, hey, this is I have an interesting thing I want to do. Do you have some time to do it? And I can either find the time and energy to create more enjoyable opportunities for all of us and expand that network of friends and colleagues that I can create those moments for, or at minimum I can give them I want to be able to do that and give them pragmatic benefits too, because they what the whole reason why I'm even affiliate on Twitch in the first place and made any money at all off of Twitch was because of Sky and because of my collabs with Orihime, because of all the work that they've made the time and effort for me specifically. And I can't offer much more than goodwill and friendship at this time. I want to be able to do more. And that's why I'm depressed right now, because as great as Offkai was, it left me with a sensation that it left me with a hunger that I can't feed at the moment. Or it stoked a hunger that I had previously, but was forced to suppress for real world, real life considerations. And that kind of sucks. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to be honest. Let's be frank. A lot of what creators do is luck-based. I can stream for 10 years with no luck whatsoever and cultivating any more than I currently have, right? Or I could wake up tomorrow, see that somebody's clipped the stream, and suddenly have 10,000 followers overnight. And that's less than 10% of that is under my control. It's not completely out of my control. I still have to create. I still have to network positively with others. Not just out of a pragmatic sense too. It's much more beneficial to consider networking opportunities as a way to forge like-minded friends than it is to forge business partners. Because if you approach it from the idea of being friends first and fellow content creators second, you're going to have many more sparks, many more natural and organic moments of synergy and moments of positive creation than you would have if you go treat it as a strictly business sense. I think that's something that a lot of content creators lose sight of over time, or lose sight of because they're greedily pursuing partner status with Twitch or YouTube or whatever, and they forget the fact that if they go for a purely capitalistic mindset, then they are subject to the limitations and the fallacies of the capitalistic mindset. They will burn out a lot quicker that way, and that's the one thing I'm desperately trying to avoid right now. I'm desperately trying to avoid burnout and as a creator, as somebody that still has to hold down a full-time position in a very, very busy, very demanding industry, on top of the things I actually want to do on a personal level. And that kind of tension over there There's no real way to avoid it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep on doing this for a year, 5 years, or even a year. Could easily be something. Could easily be that if, like, a major industry incident, like the Embracer Group's $1 billion deal having ripple effects going out to us, might even make it that shit hits the fan for me as well, right? I don't see it coming. I've been given assurances by my boss that we are in a very good position right now. I wouldn't say very good. I would say good position right now, that we are not under any threats whatsoever, and the spread of work we have would suggest so as well. I don't think I'm at risk at any moment, but I've been wrong before. I just know that if I don't try to do more, that's a bad regret. Coming off Offkai regretting not doing more is the sort of thing that I can build off of. Leaving the scene entirely, wishing I could have kept doing it, is, I think it would be something that would embitter my life experiences for quite a few years. So I'm desperately trying to avoid that as much as possible. Yeah, more employees than EA, but less revenues, returns, and gains. Their whole plan basically was that they would become an EA-sized company in the long haul, right? Embracer Group is a relatively young group. They've almost been purely based on acquisitions for the last few years. But their failure to acquire the most recent deal apparently left them overstretched. So I don't know how that's going to affect everybody else on the chain. We'll see. We are months away from knowing the full extent of the damages from that, but hopefully it won't be. I don't think we have any clients with it, do we? I don't think so. But yeah, we'll figure out. We'll figure out how it goes from here. So in terms of future plans, let me switch over to my talk screen. Let me see. Do this first. Right. Oh, just a little bit more. There we go. But yeah. For future plans, twitch.tv/Lushen Zener is where I'm going to do most of my practice streams for preparation for Evo. But I do plan to be using my YouTube channel a lot more from now on, just to avoid, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, avoid a lot of the complications that have shown up in the last couple of weeks. Like, it's no big secret that Twitch has kind of been shitting the bed, and YouTube recently dropping their partnership requirements, their stage 1 partnership requirements for super chats, for emotes, for all that shit. That's good shit. I've been waiting for that for a long time on YouTube's end. It's still a lot more difficult than reaching affiliates with Twitch, but I'm only 200 followers away. I think I can do it. I think if I just actively make more time for shorts, for pre-planned content, I might do more talk streams. I might actually decide to do a once a week YouTube talk stream, right? Just to go over what's been happening over the course of the week in the community in general. I can probably go for it. At the rate I've been making followers for the last 2 years, it takes me about a year to reach 300, but this is effort that stacks on top of each other. So whenever there's a big activation, I usually gain a huge burst. Although I need to diversify a lot more of my collabs, so I don't simply run the well dry on 1 or 2 creators, right? I don't want to be completely dependent upon all my friends. So I need to do more outreach. But yeah, I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 collab events on YouTube. No, let's put an expectation of 1 collab event a month if I can pull it off, and maybe I'll do a weekly talk stream just to go over some of the stuff that's been happening in the community over here. Hopefully clippable stuff. That helps a lot. That can make myself a little more clippable. But otherwise, my daily practice streams, especially for gameplay, will now be moved off to, well, basically where it has been for last year. It'll be on twitch.tv/Lushen Zener. Definitely follow twitter.com/Lushen Zener for news updates regarding when I'm streaming, regarding my schedule, regarding where those streams are going to be from now on, stuff like that. But yeah, I think that brings us pretty much to the end of it. But yeah, thank you for showing up to my first YouTube live stream for over a year. It's great to see you again, Draken. It's been a while. And I'll see y'all later. I will not be streaming tomorrow, or probably the next day either, simply because of work obligations. Not because I don't want to, but holy shit, I am busy as fuck. But I will be back on Thursday and definitely Friday for more practice on Guilty Gear Strive and Street Fighter 6. Give that a sign up for both at EVO. And everything from now until August, early August even, is all going to be EVO preparation. I can't believe it's only a month away. Shit. I'm glad I already got the plane ticket and hotel and everything, because holy shit. But yeah, thank you again for showing up. And as always, my friends, until next time, eat well. Don't call me out like that. Why'd you have to call me out like that? Of course I'm a jury main. Jury's fun. Shut up. Thank you for watching.